Just put me on the spot. I decided not to talk about this and just deal with it, so it doesn't cloud the discourse we're having. Because sometimes if you don't take care, because of your personal experience, who may mess it up with the issues. Communicating is one of the places.
All right, Abusia, you need to saying in sort to Dr. Alhaji Bawumia, the communicator bako miracle Denise Abuaje, and I just waba monte so our hosem to your just say you so to ye Yamian Ukraine, any Yama dear asset, while losing majority of the properties Abusia was sent on pese or they everybody to a mountain so because a month will be better now ama misinformation I just say. Enye papa until now on person be talking about it but aba monte so abe kan say maybe na yemorem na yenkotie nsem o de to bedwam maybe.
You just put me on the spot. I decided not to talk about this and just deal with it so it doesn't cloud the discourse we're having, because sometimes if you don't take care because of your personal experience, people may mess it up with the issues.
Community 18 is one of the places that was most affected.
Lost everything.
Everything.
Yes. I have nothing in my house right now. That's what a lot of people don't know. In the past, since Monday, we've been discussing this on social media and people really don't know where I've been coming from. The house is empty. We need to start everything all over again from the road, from the street. As a matter of fact, the water broke the main gate, pulled it down. And if that water was able to bring the main gate down, it tells you the strength of the water. So that's what we are starting from. Everything is gone. The only thing that we were able to save are the human beings who were brought out from the flood. In fact, let me acknowledge the MC for my West and the NADMO team and the police, the district police command, and then there was even there was another police team that was sent when I called from the I think CTU. I don't know whether it's a counter-terrorism unit or so. They also came around. They had to tie a rope to the police car far away and then bring it close to a telecom mast of the house. That is how they were able to get themselves out from the
vehicle.
Apart from the vehicle to very close to the house. In fact, some of the policemen almost got swept away. In front of my house, they almost got swept away. And then the water was at this level. So the children, everybody.
The neck level.
Yes. We're standing, I have the videos. We're standing, and you see, I wasn't home at the time. When I got the call that the water was rising, I had to rush home. That was when I called the police and all those people. And I was shocked that between the time they called me and the time I got home, the water had risen to that level to cause that level of havoc. I was shocked. And what even scared me is that I was on the mountain for a function. It was not raining there. So if it had rained on the mountain that Sunday to Monday night, I'm sure the situation we are discussing would have been worse. Because where I live, even when the sun is up and it's raining on the mountain, you can see the storm drain, rising. So if it had rained, because actually it didn't rain the whole of the Sunday night into Monday, it was dry. So this rain that caused this havoc does not even include the Ekuapem range rains. And that for me is where the worry is. We need to agree to deal with this and deal with this decisively.
Right.
Those who are responsible should just take up responsibility. All of us cannot resolve that thing. So at all times, we have let go our resources and our mandate to some people to handle it for us.
Right.
No excuses.
Let me go to Susan now. And, Sorry about what you have suffered.
But let me be
and sorry for putting you on the spot for something you didn't want to talk about.
I didn't want to. The volunteers who came to help, one of them was bitten by a snake in the flood. And he didn't know, he didn't realize. He was standing on my compound and then he collapsed. Hit his head on the tower. We had to rush him to the hospital. That's how bad the situation is. As we speak, some of my neighbors are still they're still seeing snakes and what have you inside their homes. So it's a very, very, very serious matter. Yeah, I didn't want to bring this up.
Yeah. Very, very sorry about that.
I listened to Honorable Former Minister, and I think he agrees with you. It's leadership. He just has a responsibility to at least make the current leadership not suffer too much damage. And largely, even if you listen to the final argument he made, it's leadership. In every society, there will be thieves, there will be criminals, there will be miscreants, there will be deviants, there will be recidivists. There are everywhere. But leadership ensures that all these people, including the saints, the popes, the pastors, are able to coexist in a way that the society thrives. So it is leadership. To try and use the indiscipline of a few as a cover for leadership failure is unacceptable. That is why the mandate has been given to you. If all of us were pastors and popes and saints, we will not elect leaders. We elect leaders because we know that the society that we run, all of us are not at the same wavelength, and so people would misbehave. And so you'll be given a mandate to ensure that the majority of us who are respecting the laws and the rules do not suffer from the actions of the few who are doing all this indisciplined stuff. So the president and the government has failed us. That is the summary of it. And this is not politics. This is accountability. Yesterday, the government that was in place had to take responsibility. And I take inspiration from our president. He was clear. He said that the flood and rains in Accra was as a result of Akufo-Addo's failure. I believe him. I agree with him. And that is why a lot of people who probably suffered floods in 2021, 2022, 2023 went and probably voted against the MPP because they heard a presidential candidate who said he had a solution. So there is no question. Nobody in this country is responsible for the flooding other than the government. Nobody.
No.
Nobody else other than the government.
You are not going to intervene.
Nobody else. It is the government's responsibility. And let me tell you, I'll outline how I feel and I think this government has failed. You see, you come to office. One of the biggest red flag, or everybody knows in the capital, is flood. Every government is aware of that. And that is why immediately you came to office, you formed an anti-flood task force. Why did you form that anti-flood task force? If you didn't have the responsibility to deal with flood, why would you go ahead to form a task force? It means that you acknowledge that it is your responsibility. If not, why did you set up a task force? Now this task force immediately put bloggers in a vehicle and asked them to go and wait for them whilst they fly in a chopper, landed the chopper, and briefed the bloggers what they have seen. And said big things about how they've been given the mandate, marching orders by the president to ensure that this time we do not see flooding. And that they are going to do all they have to do. Led by no mean a person than the Deputy Chief of Staff of the Republic of Ghana in charge of operations. It meant that he can command any state resource available to ensure that there is no flooding in the city. Nobody else is responsible for what happened on Monday. It is the government. And I'll tell you more. The anti-floods responsibility, task force responsibility, is to ensure that what happened on Monday did not happen. Not only that, remember that 3 weeks before Monday, another one had happened. That people had died. So first of all, that anti-flood task force failed. Because your job is to your job is to prevent. You would have succeeded if there was no flooding. As long as we have seen flood in such a devastating nature, you failed. Take responsibility. Don't make excuses. It is disrespectful. It is insulting. It is heartbreaking. When you were given a responsibility to answer something and the thing has happened and you want to shift blame. Number two, the government has managed the crisis and the disaster in the most shambolic manner than we have ever seen. And I will explain to you, Samson. You see, the flood happened. Remember, there was a flood about 2 or 3 weeks before the Monday one. The one that some building collapsed in Adenta and some people died. That was the first warning. Remember, people died with that one. What did the government do? There was a building that collapsed right here around Caprice. What did the government do? What was the government's response to all of these things? There are 3 or 4 levels of people who are affected by this. And I'll explain to you. The government quickly comes in the middle of the disaster and says that, oh, we are in a chopper, we are looking at how bad the situation is. The next morning, they said we have allocated 350 million for flood relief and flood mitigation. And this is where they are missing the point. Today is Saturday, 5 clear days since the flood happened. I haven't been able to enter my home. My house is empty. Nobody has called me. Nobody has come to me. Nobody has asked me where I sleep, what I eat, what my family is eating, where they sleep. I am just one citizen. Forget about me, because I am in the category of people who can find their way around. So put us in a different bracket. Now, for those who cannot find their way around, those who live along the Odo River, those who live at Tiptoe Lane, those who live at Circle, that cannot find places to sleep since Monday, have you heard the government open up the sports stadium, set up a dome, giving them blankets and mattresses, and tell them that come and sleep here whilst we find ways and means to release the 350 million. So again, even in the process of the disaster, the management has been very poor. People have not been prioritized. People have not been prioritized, because what a government that cares about its people does is that immediately the floods happened, I should know that for those of you who have been affected by the rain on Monday night, where are you sleeping? What are you eating? What are you wearing? Not a single one has been done. Not even one. Then I ask myself, 6 days after the flood, I have heard in the news that there's a 350 million allocation for flood relief for those who have been affected. I know not where I'm supposed to go and write my name. I know not where I'm supposed to follow up on this 350 million. It's been 6 days. I will die before the processes or whatever you are going to do happen. And that is just me. As of last night, human bodies were still being dragged from the Odo River. We do not even know the actual count of people